up constantly in different communities, and this is nothing new, unfortunately. Talk about what we're seeing here and why.
So the Trump administration has pushed ICE to do these raids. And we even saw a couple weeks ago, Stephen Miller said he was displeased that there weren't more raids. And what is sort of the most interesting thing here is that the Trump administration has not been deported. They've deported people in this way in which to try to get as much attention as possible and perhaps to sort of stoke the fires. Remember, Trump tends to govern only to delight his base, the aspects of Trumpism that are the most flammable. And so this is what we've seen. We've seen ICE agents, everyone can remember that video of the ICE agents arresting the grad student in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of this. And you'll remember that we saw Stephen Miller said he wanted more of that. Well, that's what this looks like. And the political calculus is you have to wonder, does this help the Trump administration?
It's so interesting. I don't know if you were familiar with what the New York Times' Shane Goldmacher reported earlier this week. And he compared all the counties in the United States over the election years 2012, 16, 2020, 2024, and the extraordinary movement of the Latino community, Latino voters, into Donald Trump's camp, away from what they called part of the Obama coalition in 2012, part of what got Obama elected, I'm sure, in 2008, but then again, the second election when he was reelected in 2012. And yet, the Trump administration is targeting those that they call illegals, a phrase that we do not use here on MSNBC.
Right.
We say undocumented persons or immigrants.
Right.
But how extraordinary is this swing when you see what is happening in these communities of predominant minority culture residents, especially Hispanic? How do you explain that move to supporting Trump?
Well, this is the big question. And you remember during the Republican National Committee, the convention, we had, members of the Republican Party with signs that said mass deportation now. There were literally signs that said it. This is what mass deportation now looks like. So they were not, hiding what they wanted to do. I think there was, and again, you would talk to voters about this, there would be this suspension of disbelief, right? He wasn't able to do it the first time, so he won't do it this time. And and that was something that worked for him with Hispanic voters. Now we're seeing that this balance of telling people one thing, you're telling one group one thing and telling another group a completely different thing, was going to always end up with something like this.
It is extraordinary, though, because you have to wonder about a somewhat indiscriminate nature of going to, as we believe is the case here in Paramount, they go to a Home Depot. We know that outside of a Home Depot, quite frequently in the morning hours, you will have people looking for day labor. People of all ilk will be picking up an extra job on a Saturday or Sunday or a weekday morning. It happens to be a Saturday here. And among those that might be looking just for work, it could be minors, right? Could be kids that are high school kids and they're out of, school now, or a college kid who's come back. And so there's an indiscriminate nature from all of this in this second administration.
Look, there are unintended consequences are going to be sort of, I hope not, but I think there are a lot of unintended consequences for every Trump action, right? Like, for example, I was just listening to your block before this about the steel tariffs. So the steel tariffs are actually cutting American manufacturing, right? The due process stuff, they say they can't bring Abrego Garcia back. Well, now they've brought him back. So, this administration keeps sort of having, it kind of can't get itself together. And so it does things like this, which ultimately end up having tons of unintended consequences.
Absolutely.
And I just wonder if you're a suburban voter who voted for Trump because you thought he'd be good for the economy and you thought you'd get a tax cut. Do you want this? Does this appeal to you?
That's going to have to be a rhetorical question right now as we're zooming in on that shot there. There you see definitely agents, we are told, from the Department of Homeland Security. We can only presume there are members of ICE in that group of People right there, you see them in uniform. Molly, I want to thank you for being here today again. We were going to bring you on to talk about How to Lose Your Mother, a daughter's memoir. We're going to have you back tomorrow. That's the only good news here. I get you back tomorrow. We'll look forward to that.
Thank
and for
you.
all of you.